Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the nation, declares that the government scheme of providing free ration to 80 crore people, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, will be extended till November end, says centre will continue to strengthen efforts and work to empower the poor. Indian and Chinese military officials hold third round of co-commander level border talks at Chushul in Ladakh. The two sides are expected to deliberate on the implementation of the agreement and arrived at the first round of talks. French Defence Minister expresses solidarity with India on Galwan face-off, condoles martyrdom of 20 soldiers at Galwan. India's first COVID-19 vaccine candidate, Covaxin, gets approval for human trials. Human clinical trials for Covaxin developed by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with ICMR and NIV Pune, scheduled to start across India by July 2020. Centre steps up efforts to control the locust swarms. A helicopter pressed into service to check the menace. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar flags off helicopter with pesticide spraying facility from Noida, Uttar Pradesh. And the recovery rate of corona patients in India continues to show steady improvement, crosses 59%. Active cases in the country more than 2,15,000. Global COVID-19 cases over 1 crore 2 lakh with more than 5,04,000 deaths. WHO chief warns pandemic still speeding up. Good evening and welcome to this bulletin. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation as India enters the crucial stage of Unlock 2 in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. At the outset, Prime Minister once again requested the people to follow rules and not be negligent. He said those not following rules should be stopped, adding that no one is above law, be it village pradhan or Prime Minister.
पहले हम मास्क को लेकर 2 गज की दूरी को लेकर 20 सेकंड तक दिन में कई बार हाथ धोने को लेकर बहुत सतर्क थे, लेकिन आज जब हमें ज्यादा सतर्कता की जरूरत है तो लापरवाही बढ़ना बहुत ही चिंता का कारण है। साथियों, लॉकडाउन के दौरान बहुत गंभीरता से नियमों का पालन किया गया था। अब सरकारों को, स्थानीय निकाय की संस्थाओं को, देश के नागरिकों को फिर से उसी तरह की सतर्कता दिखाने की जरूरत है। विशेषकर कंटेनमेंट जोन्स, उस पर तो हमें बहुत ध्यान देना होगा। जो भी लोग नियमों का पालन नहीं कर रहे हैं, हमें उन्हें टोकना होगा, रोकना होगा और समझाना भी होगा।
On the occasion, Prime Minister made yet another big announcement. He declared that the government scheme of providing free ration to 80 crore people in the country, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, will be extended till November end this year. That will translate to every member of the family in poor households getting 5 kg of wheat or rice free of cost, plus 1 kilogram of pulses for every family per month.
आज मैं इसी से जुड़ी एक महत्वपूर्ण घोषणा करने जा रहा हूं। साथियों, हमारे यहां वर्षा ऋतु के दौरान और उसके बाद मुख्य तौर पर कृषि क्षेत्र में, एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में ही ज्यादा काम होता है। अन्य दूसरे सेक्टरों में थोड़ी सुस्ती रहती है। जुलाई से धीरे धीरे त्योहारों का भी माहौल बनने लगता है। अब आप देखिए, अभी 5 जुलाई को गुरु पूर्णिमा है, फिर सावन शुरू हो रहा है, फिर 15 अगस्त आएगी, रक्षाबंधन आएगा, कृष्णा जन्माष्टमी आएगी, गणेश चतुर्थी आएगी, ओणम होगा, और आगे जाएं तो काटी बिहू है, नवरात्रि है, दुर्गा पूजा है, दशहरा है, दीपावली है, छठी मैया की पूजा है। त्योहारों का ये समय जरूरतें भी बढ़ाता है, खर्च भी बढ़ाता है। इन सभी बातों को ध्यान में रखते हुए ये फैसला लिया गया है कि प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना का विस्तार अब दिवाली और छठ पूजा तक, यानी नवंबर महीने के आखिर तक कर दिया जाएगा। यानी 80 करोड़ लोगों को मुफ्त अनाज देने वाली ये योजना अब जुलाई, अगस्त, सितंबर, अक्टूबर, नवंबर में भी लागू रहेगी। सरकार द्वारा इन 5 महीनों के लिए 80 करोड़ से ज्यादा गरीब भाई बहनों को हर महीने परिवार के हर सदस्य को 5 किलो गेहूं या 5 किलो चावल मुफ्त मुहैया कराया जाएगा। और साथ ही प्रत्येक परिवार को हर महीने 1 किलो चना भी मुफ्त दिया जाएगा।
And now Mr. Sudhanshu Pandey, Secretary, Department of Food and Public Distribution, is joining us to talk about the big decision by Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. Welcome, sir, to this bulletin. And now, how crucial, how empowering do you see this big decision by Prime Minister to extend the scheme to provide free ration to the poor families, given that the economy is really adversely impacted due to COVID-19 outbreak and the poor are the worst sufferers?
I think this is a wonderful decision, and it's a very, very powerful decision to empower the entire population living in the villages and rural areas, because these are the people who have been working despite the onslaught of corona. Right. And this is our next crop is still about 5 months ago. So it's a very, very good decision that the food security of more than 80 crore people has been taken care of. Now their minds are off and they can be focused on their other works, and they can fight with this pandemic more effectively.
Right, so we're talking about food security for 80 crore people in the country. In its sheer scale, this social security is unprecedented. Prime Minister gave examples of many countries, a population size of many countries, as compared to which India has taken this flagship scheme. How challenging is the task now for your department to ensure this ration food distribution happens efficiently?
This is actually a very, very important point that was mentioned by Honorable Prime Minister. The reason is that this is one of the world's biggest, the biggest public distribution system. And so many reforms have been taken in this PDS so that it inspires confidence now to the leadership that the ration will reach, because it is now a lot of states are doing 100% biometric authenticated distribution, and FCI godowns, they have sufficient stocks. Our stocks are all-time high. They are almost 2.5 times of the buffer that is required. Right. So this gives tremendous confidence to leadership that the nation is prepared because of the hard work of farmers, and we can meet this challenge.
Right, sir. And talking about reforms in public distribution centres, Prime Minister once again spoke about the ambitious plan of one nation, one ration card. Tell us a little more about the scope and potential of the scheme and how will it be implemented in the coming months?
Actually, we are already technically now prepared to implement this program in 20 states. By end of August, another 3 states would be added.
Right.
Which would mean that we would be covering about 70 crore people of the entire system. And our effort is that by November, December this year, we cover the entire population which is under PDS. The benefit of this is going to be that it is going to ensure that the people's entitlement travels with them. So irrespective of whichever place economic needs take them, they are able to draw their ration at that place of work.
Right.
So their family will continue to get ration at the place where they are staying, and the migratory workers, they can draw their ration wherever they are working. So
Mr. Pandey, just to take this specific example forward of migrant workers, the crisis that we saw during the outbreak, does that mean we are looking at a time after one nation, one ration card is implemented that the reason why migrant workers had to return home for food, for sustainability, those reasons will be taken care of in the future if such a crisis ever comes again?
Absolutely. In fact, the effort of the government is that using this platform, because the ration card, which have been 100% digitized now, they capture a lot of important fields about the person, about his place of stay, about his family size, about the head of the family, about his telephone number. And all this information can actually be used to bring in other government benefits onto the same platform. So this is going to be very empowering program, which is already unfolding, and now greater awareness is being generated so that people who migrate, they can avail of this. Recently, if you were watching certain in far off places like Tripura, people are able to avail. Manipur, people are able to avail their ration.
Right. Mr. Pandey, also the point that you mentioned, availability of the ration at far-off places, the last-mile delivery availability of ration for the poor, how significant will be the roles of the states, the local administration? Prime Minister did talk about how every member of the system must come forward, cooperate in order to make sure that the scheme is a success.
Actually, under the PDS reform, the doorstep delivery is one of the important steps that has been captured. And in fact, central government is paying that distribution cost also within the state. And Fair Price Shop, which is a large network of over 5 lakh Fair Price Shop across the country, they are also being provided with the electronic point of sale machine, where the biometric authentication can happen. So our effort is to reach out to every nook and corner, because deficit states actually need supply of ration, because not all states are the producing states. And therefore, ration has to travel to these states where sufficient stocks are not available. And FCI plays a very, very important role along with the state companies, which are the warehousing companies of the state government as well as the central government, for stocking this ration and then distributing it to the districts, to blocks. And under this Fair Price Shop program, Telecom Ministry under the BharatNet is going to provide a 1-year free connectivity to all Fair Price Shop at the Gram Panchayat level. And we have already taken one national number, helpline number for one nation, one ration card, which is 14445. And all state governments across the country, they have been requested to operationalize this before 15th of July, so that people can start calling, registering on this telephone number, and they can go anywhere they want to go, where their work takes them.
Right. Right. So a natural question does come. when we're talking about feeding nearly over 60% of India's population, where this amount of grain is going to come from. So the role of farmers become very crucial, and Prime Minister did mention that farmers, taxpayers, they have a central role to play in India becoming self-reliant, Atmanirbhar.
Absolutely. Actually, this is what I mentioned, that our procurement this year is the highest ever. And this is possible only because of farmers. And non-traditional states have also taken lead. Madhya Pradesh has now become the largest procurer. Now they have actually pushed Punjab to number 2. And they have taken lead as number 1 for the first time in the history. So farmers are working very hard, states are working very hard, and as a result of which, both for wheat and rice, and as well as coarse grains, because many states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, they give a lot of importance to local coarse grains also, ragi, bajra, maize, and these grains are also procured.
Right, and so finally, Prime Minister in his address in context of Unlock 2 spoke about how we can't keep our guards down. We have to be ever careful. Your team, people in public distribution, last mile delivery, how prepared are they to ensure that efficient working happens with all the precaution like masks, social distancing and so on?
In fact, one of our agency, which is the Central Warehousing Corporation, it is doing disinfection across the country on institutional basis. Food Corporation of India has actually come out with very strong SOP, and in the entire distribution chain, logistics chain, those practices are being followed. And in fact, if you see at the fair price shop also,
right,
the SOP has been so clearly well laid down that people are maintaining social distancing while collecting, they are wearing masks. So at all places, the awareness is now so much that people are following, and we are insisting that they follow all these practices, which are for their own safety.
Right. On that note, Mrs. Sudhanshu Pandey, thank you very much for joining us in this program, sharing all those details about the way in which this big decision by Prime Minister is going to be implemented. So, Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana has been extended. That was the big takeaway in Prime Minister's address. For the next 5 months, free grains would be made available to over 60% of the population, that is 80 crore poor people in the country. With that update, we conclude this bulletin. News and Updates But continues after a short break. Namaskar.